My grandmother, she came back after 17 days. My grandfather, he came back a few weeks ago after about 500 days, unfortunately dead in a coffin. What I can tell you from my story is to get a live hostage and then to get a body as well. That's so important. I mean, it's so important to bring everyone back. Getting my grandfather back was so emotionally powerful. I mean, almost as I got my grandmother back, because I stood there in Reim, in the junction, first place where we could receive as a civilian to get the trucks with the bodies. And I was standing there, and when the trucks of the Bivas family and my grandfather passed me, next to my people, we were so many there together, and we all felt how important it is that we would leave nobody behind. That we can't let those monsters, those terrorists, to have any part of us there. And I joined also the convoy after and saw everyone on the sides of the roads, some of them crying so strongly that I just started to cry every junction, and some of them saluting, standing on cars. It was really something that I felt how united we are around our people coming back, you know. And what I felt as well there was to see how it continued. I thought it's my grandfather and the Bibas family, which it's 9 months baby to an 83-year-old great-grandfather. I was not in Israel actually on October 7. I was in France. I see it from abroad, feeling helpless. Just for me, it was my home burning. I grew up in Kibbutz Nir Oz until the age of 16. My grandfather and my grandmother, they built the kibbutz. They started it in 1956 and 1957. My grandfather, he fought in 4 different wars from 67 to 82. Beside that, he was a human rights activist, a peace activist, a journalist, but a person who believes that defending the country is so important, fighting for peace is so important. He was a real warrior of peace, understanding that as well expanding the country was so important. Ben Gurion mission, that's why they started the kibbutz on the border. They knew where it is, and it actually proved itself, because on October 7 it did defend Israel. It was attacked so strongly, but it defended Israel. The Hamas terrorists could not continue to Beersheba or Ashdod or anything, because they were 7 hours in Nir Oz. To October 6 at 10 p.m. my mother and my daughter, they left Kibbutz Nir Oz to babysit the son of my ex-wife boyfriend. We were really so lucky. Not only that my mom and my daughter left Nir Oz to Tel Aviv to babysit the son of my ex-wife daughter. So if you divorce or anything, keep good relations. It can save your mom and your daughter's life. Well, when my mom got there, my ex-wife told her, yeah, park the car here. And my mom said, like, you know, there are signs here. 8 a.m. she goes down to take the car. Her car being taken. Couldn't go south, because she wanted to go south. Then 8 a.m. was the last time we had contact with my grandparents. He told her there are huge amount of rockets today, unusual. Moreover, I speak Arabic outside and they are shooting. But you have nothing to worry, 10-15 minutes, the IDF will come and it will end. Then 8:15 we lose the contact with my grandparents, thinking that they are in the bomb shelter, they lost the signal, anything can happen, but for sure not being kidnapped, because who will kidnap such an old people? What there is to do with them? Around 9:15 was the last time we spoke with my best friend Dolev Yahud. He was part of the security guards of the kibbutz. He saved his wife Sigal, and he closed the door of the bomb shelter. He made a special lock. Sigal was there. She was sitting with 3 kids from the age of 3 to 9 and 39 weeks of pregnancy. He was there for 6-7 hours. Same story for Avital Dekelchen, the wife of Sagi Dekelchen. The difference, Sagi is back, Dolev not. So Dolev closed the door.
He left the house, he closed all the lights, and when he went out, he did something that you do in the kibbutz, that somebody think nobody's home. He locked the door and he put it in a visible place. So when the terrorists were there, they thought nobody's home. That's how he really saved them as well. Because they went inside, but they didn't go into the room. Tried to help as well his sister and his brother. Neta been saved, but his sister was kidnapped, Arbel Yahoud, as you know, for more than 480 days. Lately came back. She was alone there. 3 hours after she been kidnapped, they separate her from Ariel, and the next time she sees someone is Gadi Moses, just 1 day before she's getting released. Going to 11 a.m., that's the time for me, I think all my kibbutz is going to die or being kidnapped, because in the security guards of the kibbutz, their worst case scenario training was to fight 16 terrorists for 14 minutes. Then the IDF is coming. They fought more than 200 terrorists for more than 2 hours and a half. Because in Nir Oz, the first wave was a Nukhba terrorist of Hamas, second wave was a Jihad Islamic, and third wave coming inside was just civilians. Hundreds of civilians, some of them from the age of 10, robbing all the houses, sitting in the houses, changing the TV, the Netflix from Hebrew to Arabic, eating, drinking, all of that for hours. So all those jeeps, I told my business partner, and everyone's gonna die. I have to come back tomorrow. I know those bomb shelters doors are not against breaching in. They are the rooms of the children. You don't lock your child inside the room. I said, nobody will survive. When I saw at 11:30 Shiri Bibas and the kids being kidnapped, that was the worst scene. It proved to be maybe the worst case scenario of people being kidnapped ever. I also thought Shiri is her mom because she looked so old. It's like she lost 30 years in just a moment. When I saw her, I thought it's Margit, but Margit and Yossi been brutally murdered. And Shiri now we know that was murdered with Kfir and Ariel. And Dana, Yarden stayed alone, but Dana, her sister, my mother told her, Dana, I'll be your mom now. She said, Rita, you're already my mom, always. And I told her, Dana, you have a brother. She said, Daniel, you're already my brother. We were sleeping in the same bed, you know, and communal sleeping. I have my lucky story. I have my grandma back. My grandfather is back, not as we wished. I believe that if the international community, and we will have the right pressure from the administration in the US and the Arab world, we would have my grandfather back, we will have Shiri Bibas and the kids back. We will deal with the ones we are starting to deal now, maybe on October 20. The world let Jewish babies, women, and elderly be in Gaza kidnapped and think it's fine. 5 p.m., that was the time I graved on my best friend. I understood that he was murdered, but then he hasn't been found for 8 months. On March 12, on his last birthday, not this one, the one before, I was going in DC, still speaking of him to release him. But after 8 months in a special DNA test, his trace has been found. What happened is that he fought close to Tamir Adar and Aviv Atzili in Kibbutz Nir Oz, but he fought in a place where he went to his friend, he'd been shot, and then the balcony collapsed on him. Nir Oz, they try to breach in, they don't succeed to open the door, they shoot it. If they can't shoot it, they just flame the houses. So either you would being murdered or kidnapped or start to suffocate inside your bomb shelter. 7 p.m. I understood my grandparents being kidnapped. The O for Dolev and R for generation. So every time I hear that, I start to cry. He was really my best friend, and because of him, we know baseball in Nir Oz. When he was 9, he went to Boston with his father. His father was a professor teacher. When he came back, we were so jealous about it. Kid go from the kibbutz to America. He came back after a few years, 3 years, and he played in the youth of the Boston Red Sox, the juniors. And he taught us to play baseball. So we were standing in the grass next to the dining room in Nir Oz and playing baseball there. Yeah, and when I came for the first time to his house, or after October 7, I found a small cap of the Boston Red Sox. And I knew nobody's gonna know that story. October 21st come. First time we know about my grandparents, because we had nothing. Suddenly we get a message, in Hamas Telegram, they are going to release Oded Lifshitz and Nurit Cooper for humanitarian reasons, but the occupation forces refuses to take them. Israel, refused. What happened there, that was of course a propaganda. And Hamas said, like all the dots connected there with the Egyptians and everyone, Hamas said, look, they are really bad. And they were really bad because the doctor there couldn't succeed to stop the diarrhea of my grandma. He said, tomorrow we release them. If you don't want them, we will put them on the fence or put them outside and you will see what happened to them. They are not in our responsibility anymore. Unbelievable feeling. It's really hard to be in that situation with the hostages. It's the worst. I don't wish it to my worst enemy to have a hostage as a family member. There is nothing worse than that you will not know what's going to your beloved one. You don't know how he died. You don't know anything about him. Then it's a feeling that, it's unbelievable feeling when it comes back. It's like you don't believe it can happen. Suddenly my grandmother coming out. We were so shocked. And we understood that until the moment they were out in Israel, they didn't know if they are dead or alive. Mm-hmm. Only in the moment they saw their videos outside, they understood they were alive. So my grandma is coming back. She lost about 22 pounds in 17 days. She's a strong woman, big, and when I saw her, so skinny, and I didn't understand how you can abuse so much such an old woman. Then she told us to herself how she will survive. She will remember everything. The Shin Bet said never in the history they had a hostage give so much accurate information. She just remembered everything. So she said around 8:15 in the morning, a bit before my grandfather stood up, he closed the bomb shelter door, hold the handle, told my grandma, Yochke, yesh milchama, there is war. The terrorists came in, they shot 5 bullets in the door, 2 of them injured him. They opened the door, they took my grandmother out of bed, they took my grandfather, they dragged them at home, and they dragged them in their cactus garden. Unbelievable. So being dragged in their home, which they built, in the cactus garden, which they built for 64 years, on the backyard, my grandmother, they put her on a motorbike after they rolled her in a carpet. I wish I had this image. This image could make so much impact and change. Nobody we saw on her stomach, legs behind, hands in front, and her last scene of my grandfather on his back, unconscious and bleeding. So she thought he was murdered. Then my grandmother being kidnapped just a mile in front, said so much pain, so much bumpy. She said her biggest heartbreak was she passed into Gaza, when she passed the fence, after so many years and helping the Palestinians and the Gazans with taking children to the hospitals in Israel for chemotherapy and back. She said when she passed, the ones beating her inside there was not Hamas terrorists. There was the Palestinian civilians. They were the one with sticks, beating them inside, almost breaking her ribs, taking the rings and necklaces out of her. 40 meters deep. She remembered everything. The worst moment was that she broke her leg in the Rockies Mountain 3 decades ago, and she had special shoes always to walk. She walked 200 meters with special shoes, so she walked there 6-7 hours, and in some moment she said, I have to rest. So they were just sitting, and for punishing on that, when they got into a pail of sandbags, they told them to cross it and back, and cross it and back. Then she was there, she said she was shocked from that everything is prepared for so many years. The rooms were prepared, everything was prepared. And then she said food was not much until October 7, 23. Pita bread, some cheese, cucumber, and after 3 days, Ichi Sinwar came inside and he told them, now you're in my hands, all is fine, don't worry, in a few days you will be released. He was thinking about Israel on October 6th. We'll bring everyone, we are so strong now, we will never, it's like after the Holocaust, it will never be the same again. Yes, sure. Oded, bring Oded home and then